Join me as I dive into the crazy world of food safety and challenge myself to find out what's really lurking in our meals that could make us sick. When it comes to food, most of us take it for granted. We assume that what we're putting into our bodies is safe and healthy. But the truth is, there are hidden dangers lurking in our food that can make us sick. Foodborne illnesses are a growing concern, and it's more important than ever to be aware of what's going into our meals. The consequences of food contamination can be severe, ranging from mild stomach cramps to life-threatening diseases. It's a risk we can't afford to take, especially when it comes to vulnerable populations like the elderly, young children, and people with weakened immune systems. Food safety is not just a personal issue, it's a public health concern that affects us all. As consumers, we have a right to know what's in our food and whether it's safe to eat. But how do we know what's lurking in our meals? That's what we're going to explore today. The food industry is complex, and there are many stages where contamination can occur, from farm to table. That's why it's essential to understand the risks and take proactive steps to protect ourselves. Let's dive into the world of food safety and uncover the hidden dangers that can be present in our food. From bacteria like Salmonella and E. coli to viruses like norovirus and hepatitis A, there are many pathogens that can contaminate our food. And it's not just biological pathogens we need to worry about. Chemicals like pesticides and heavy metals can also find their way into our meals. One of the most common causes of foodborne illness is cross-contamination, where harmful pathogens are transferred from one food to another. This can happen during food preparation, handling, or storage. For example, if you're preparing raw meat and then handle fruits and vegetables without washing your hands, you can easily transfer bacteria like Salmonella or E. coli. Food handling practices like washing your hands, separating raw and cooked foods, and cooking to the right temperature can significantly reduce the risk of contamination. But even with proper food handling, there are still risks associated with certain foods. Take raw oysters, for instance. They can contain Vibrio bacteria, which can cause severe illness in people with weakened immune systems. Or consider unpasteurized dairy products, which can contain bacteria like Listeria and E. coli. In recent years, there have been several high-profile foodborne illness outbreaks, from contaminated romaine lettuce to E. coli-tainted ground beef. These outbreaks highlight the importance of food safety and the need for increased vigilance in the food industry. Food manufacturers have a responsibility to ensure the safety of their products, but as consumers, we also have a role to play. By being informed about the risks associated with certain foods and taking proactive steps to protect ourselves, we can reduce our risk of getting sick. One of the most effective ways to prevent foodborne illness is to cook food to the right temperature. This is especially important for high-risk foods like poultry, beef, and fish, which can contain harmful pathogens like Salmonella and E. coli. Another key step is to handle leftovers safely. When you're cooking, it's essential to refrigerate leftovers promptly and reheat them to the right temperature to prevent bacterial growth. Food safety is not just about handling and cooking food safely. It's also about being aware of the risks associated with certain foods. Take raw sprouts, for example. They're a high-risk food because they can be contaminated with bacteria like Salmonella and E. coli during the growing process. Foods like deli meats and hot dogs can also be contaminated with listeria, which can cause severe illness in pregnant women and people with weakened immune systems. Pregnant women, young children, and people with weakened immune systems are particularly vulnerable to foodborne illness. That's why it's essential for them to take extra precautions when handling and consuming high-risk foods. In addition to being aware of high-risk foods, it's also important to know how to read food labels. Food manufacturers are required to provide information about their products, including ingredients, allergens, and nutrition facts. But even with food labels, it can be difficult to know what's really in our food. That's why it's essential to be informed about the risks associated with certain ingredients and to make informed choices about what we eat. In the United States, foodborne illness affects millions of people each year, resulting in thousands of hospitalizations and deaths. The economic burden of foodborne illness is also significant, with estimated annual costs of over $15 billion. Despite the risks, many people are unaware of the dangers of foodborne illness. That's why it's essential to raise awareness about food safety and the importance of being informed about what we eat. Food safety is not just a personal issue, it's a public health concern that affects us all. By being informed about the risks associated with certain foods and taking proactive steps to protect ourselves, we can reduce our risk of getting sick and promote a safer food system for everyone. One surprising fact about food contamination is that it's not just about the food itself, it's also about the people handling it. Food handlers who don't wash their hands regularly or who are sick can easily transfer pathogens to the food they're handling. In fact, a recent study found that over 50% of food handlers do not wash their hands regularly, highlighting the importance of proper hygiene practices in the food industry. Food safety is a complex issue that requires a multifaceted approach. It's not just about regulation and oversight, it's also about education and awareness. By being informed about the risks associated with certain foods and taking proactive steps to protect ourselves, we can reduce our risk of getting sick and promote a safer food system for everyone. Food safety is not just about avoiding illness, it's also about promoting overall health and well-being. By making informed choices about what we eat, we can reduce our risk of chronic diseases like heart disease, diabetes, and certain types of cancer. In conclusion, food safety is a critical issue that affects us all. By being informed about the risks associated with certain foods and taking proactive steps to protect ourselves, we can reduce our risk of getting sick and promote a safer food system for everyone. So what can you do to protect yourself from foodborne illness? Start by being informed about the risks associated with certain foods and taking proactive steps to handle and cook food safely. Remember, food safety is a shared responsibility that requires the active participation of consumers, food manufacturers, and regulators. By working together, we can create a safer food system for everyone. Thanks for watching, and so if you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and click on the bell for more health tips and updates. Don't forget to share your experiences with food safety in the comments below. If you want to learn more about food safety and related topics, be sure to check out our other videos.